Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is Tracy Root with the Gather community, and I am super excited to introduce our latest Gather community creator, Kelly Loyd. Kelly's business is called Informed. You can find her at informedceo.com. And Kelly's going to tell us a little bit about herself, what Informed is all about, how she serves her clients. So Kelly, take it away. Tell us a little bit about how you got here and who you are. Where are you?
Well, I am a reform corporate drone, and I spent a lot of years in large corporations like Sony Computer Entertainment, which most people know as PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I've worked with Kmart and local governments, places like that, teaching them how to maximize their return on investment. So at this stage, I realized I like working with small groups and small businesses more than I do large corporations. And that's because they're more flexible and more coachable in a lot of ways. And so that's basically my whole reason for existence, is to help small businesses use the same tools as large corporations and learn how to be profitable, learn how to keep that money in their pockets instead of it flowing outwards as they earn.
Awesome. You know, that's something, as someone who formerly was in corporate, and most of the people that we talk to, right? Entrepreneurs, especially women kind of our age group, right? Most of us came from corporate, and we realized that we wanted to do something a little more fulfilling, focus on, you know, the one-on-one relationships a little bit more, help people actually grow in their lives, as opposed to helping corporations is great because people work for corporations, but how can we make a bigger impact individually, right? And in our communities. So tell me how do you do that? How do you take something that works for a multi-billion-dollar giant conglomerate and make it work for someone like me?
That's interesting because most of the multi-million dollar conglomerates are actually made of small departments, and each department struggles. Every place that I've ever been, every place I've ever worked, they all have challenges. And so I've never met a problem that couldn't be chunked down into individual actions that will make a big impact.
Oh, that makes so much sense. That totally takes me flashback to our department in the last corporate environment I was in, and how, you know, they have their own budget and their own goals that are, you know, things that they created or things that came down from above, right? But, you know, their own departmental goals, in our department was 25 people. And so, yeah, it definitely can feel like a small business within a business within a business, right?
Correct. Exactly right.
Very cool. I never thought of it that way. That's awesome. So you've mentioned maximizing return on investment. So tell me a little bit about like the areas that people tend to forget that they can actually make a big impact. Like, it's obviously sales are important. Obviously your expenses are important, but how do you get a grasp on what's even happening? I don't even know how to ask the question, because I'm at a loss myself, right?
Because it's something that everyone grapples with. Typically what happens is the focus is on sales, and it should be. You have to get the dollars in the door, right?
Yeah.
You have to.
Right.
But unfortunately what happens on the other side, and you mentioned it, expenses grow as income grows, and it's human nature. So that is the lowest hanging fruit, is really taking a look at what you're spending on. Are you getting return on investment? Is there a better option out there? That kind of thing. The second thing is, in terms of low hanging fruit, is automating and connecting all of your applications, making sure that you're not inputting something 2 or 3 times because you had to put it in QuickBooks and you put it in your CRM, and then you have your customer contact software, your emails or something going out of another software, those can almost in every case be connected. And that again, that's only one example. But
That's
you,
such a good
but you
one
want to
though.
have a hub of a wheel and everything going from out from that. So that's the second thing. And then in terms of your actual product mix, things like that, a lot of times people don't, they look at the product, they pick a price, but they're not looking at a return on investment, what we
Like a
talked about
margin,
before.
like looking at the specific margin
Correct.
for your
Are
cost
you
versus,
actually
yeah,
making
pricing
money?
properly.
And exactly. And is this the right value for your customers and also the right value for yourself?
Yeah.
If you look at your, oh, and this one is the most important to me. What is the value how of your time? And I don't
Mhm.
mean, you know, how much do you get paid per hour? I mean, how many hours a week do you want to work? And I think that's especially critical for women. But if you want to work 60, 70 hours a week, that's absolutely fine and that's great. If you want to work 30 hours a week, that's absolutely fine and that's great. But you need to match that goal to your income and make sure that you're going to be able to make that target.
Yes.
So I really want people, all business people, to really examine their quality of life, what it is they're trying to accomplish, and are their business goals supporting that?
So good. That is so, and I'm glad that you said this. Here's the one most important thing, because I do think that we tend to, and women especially, tend to minimize the value of each hour, right? Or the fact that, and I hear this a lot, right? Well, that's like, it doesn't cost me anything to do it myself. And I have learned
Cost you
that is
everything to do it
so the
yourself.
opposite of true, right? And I mean, and
Exactly.
maybe your time, it depends on the action, of course. Maybe if you can get it done in 15 minutes, maybe it is easiest for you to just take care of it. But if it's going to take you 3 hours, like,
If
we
it's
always go ahead.
No, if it's a 15-minute project and it's a one-time thing, you're absolutely right.
Right.
If it's 15 minutes multiplied over 52 weeks, theoretically,
Yeah.
you will
Makes a big
have
difference.
somebody who can do that better than you can.
Right.
It's better use of their time than it is for your own.
And so we're talking about automation, we're talking about batch working, we're talking about support from other people who, as we come from, have similar networks that we're in, we know that if it's not the sales of what we're doing, if it's not something unique to what we bring to our own business, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, then someone else can probably do it. And, early on, it might be a transition. There might be a transition period or an adjustment, but over time, like you said, 15 minutes over 52 weeks, that's a huge, I wish I could do math fast enough to figure out what that is. 15 minutes over 40 weeks would be 10 hours. And if
Yeah,
you're,
but it multiplies because it's never one thing for 15 minutes. It's always
well, and then there's
five
another
or
thing,
six
and there's
things,
another
and they
thing, and yeah,
exactly.
So
And
it ends
one of
up
the
being
things that I
worth
do try
thousands
to
of
help,
dollars, and you can have someone do it
correct.
for a
If
fraction.
you could have made a sales call during that 15
Right.
minutes of time, that's where that's 52 sales calls a year that you
Right.
lost
Oh
out
my
on.
gosh. That's
Um,
it's so crazy. I love it. Love, 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 love. Okay. This is so exciting. The time thing is huge for me, to kind of be reminded of here on a Monday morning. So thank you so much for that. And so tell me specifically how you work with clients. Like, are you usually working one-on-one with like the primary stakeholder? Tell me about your workshops. Like, what do you have typically going on that are really getting some good response for you?
okay, so we have workshops that start out with kind of talking about the process. And for this type of work, the first thing we have to do is identify your goals. Typically, if we're doing a deep dive and actually trying to make sure you get the best bang for your buck.
Mhm.
My approach to goal setting is similar actually to what you do, Tracy, but in some ways quite different. I only really focus on the next 12 weeks,
Mm.
one
Quarter by
quarter at a
quarter.
time. And I also want, again, quarter by quarter, and I also want people to think about their personal goals, and also, and this is kind of different, do they follow through in each of these areas? And it kind of shows where you might get stuck. So, if you're like, I'm going to make a health goal, which is awesome, and I certainly need to, my follow through on that is abysmal. My keeping a pact with myself on that, I will put that aside all the time for other things that take a higher priority. Now, I know that should be my highest priority, but I do not have a good record with that. So you kind of take a look at you assess those things.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it starts to give you a path on, sorry, I don't want to go in too deep dive on this, but goal setting's huge. Goal setting, is where you start to set the structure for the next part, which is evaluating what you've got going on now, and where you're doing well, where you would like to improve, what you see as the next big boulder, and then trying to assess which one or two things you're really going to focus on. And
Awesome.
I will say this, if you focus on a quarter at a time, you're much more motivated to get that goal done now, because you only have a few weeks to accomplish it.
Well,
And then
and
we
it's
move on,
yeah,
we'll
and
do
it's a
the next
lot
task.
less overwhelming to think I have to overhaul everything. It's going to impact my whole business for the next 20 years. And like that's huge and daunting. But if you look at 12 weeks, right? So we're here in the middle of October. So basically we're, just a couple weeks into Q4 for the typical year. And, there's still lots of
Correct.
time, but it's not so far, but January 1st is not so far away that you can't see it, right? It's so visible, and man, it seems like a step is going to make a difference as opposed to
Correct.
a step.
Exactly.
How is that going to make a difference to me 5 years from now? Sometimes that's hard to see.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think in using your example right now, we should be working on goals for January and
Mhm.
that quarter.
Right. Because we're
But we
already in
also
Q4. So let's
should,
plan for Q1,
all,
right?
all of these things that we do right now are going to make a huge impact on how our January
Woo!
plays out.
That
Huge
sounds really
impact.
exciting. Really exciting because,
Yeah.
one of the things, excuse me, one of the things that I've been talking about in my programs that I'm putting together is let's wrap up 2020 so we can start 2021. Like we all want to start 2021. Let's be super real about this year and going into next year, right? Everyone's like 2020 can just suck it and I want to start 2021. It's not going to be that different, right? It's just another
No.
month every day. It's like birthdays, right? Oh, do you feel older? Well, no, yesterday I was this
Yeah,
age, today I'm this
exactly.
age plus one, right? So, but at the same time, there's that mental idea of, okay, the work that we do now will affect us starting next quarter, but it's also going to build, right? And that's starting momentum, building momentum, and starting to build really,
Correct.
you mentioned health goals, but it's those life habits, whether it's a habit in your health or a habit in your life or a habit in your business, that you start here, make a little change, and let that change start to perpetuate over time. That's so good. I love that so much. And I love that you touched on the idea of like keeping promises to yourself, or it wasn't a priority, you said, which, because that is what I talk about a lot in goal setting is we get to decide what our priorities are. And the things that are hard, if we put them aside, it doesn't mean they're not a priority, but we're not a priority today. But so we have to have someone like you to help us see how, if you make that change now, even though it doesn't feel like it's important, what's it going to look like
It
in 3
has a
months,
huge
6 months, 9 months from now, or at the end of this quarter versus now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it helps you identify where you need support.
Right.
If I'm going to take my health goals seriously, I need to have a personal trainer come to the house, somebody that keeps me hopefully I can get accountability a different way, but I need to
Right.
have
We need
something.
accountability.
Correct.
Right. Some sort of accountability, some sort of structure, some sort of plan in place that isn't too overwhelming to begin, isn't too hard to maintain, right? Because we can't make all the changes all at once, because that's too
No,
much,
and that's
right?
exactly
Do you see
right.
people try to do that all the time? I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to do that, and then they don't do anything, right?
Exactly, because
Yeah.
they're overwhelmed, and of course they are, but it's
Right.
also very hard when you know all the things have to be done to be able to chunk that down and focus.
Yes.
And that's part of what, for me, the goal setting process is to really say, okay, we're not saying you're not going to do this thing, but you're just not going to
But
focus
we're going
on
to
it for
start
the
here.
next 12 weeks. You're going
Yeah.
to focus on the things that will make the most impact over the next few weeks, and only those things.
Right.
Not saying that other things won't happen during that time, but your focus is going to be laser sharp.
And I would imagine that you have similar protests as I do a lot of times, which is, I know what to do, I just need to do it, right? They can see, they know that consistency is important. They know that if they would stop doing XYZ or begin doing ABC, that it would make a difference, but then they don't do it. And even though they know, right, it's that mental shift. And so having someone who's been there, who has decades of experience in doing it, is, someone that can help you with that accountability, like you were saying. So I love it. I
I
think that your
agree.
service
And
is hugely needed, and I'm so excited that you're here.
oh, good. I'm so excited to be here. I am so excited.
Tell me
I
a
think
little,
that
go
you're
ahead. I'm
right.
sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that you're right that a lot of times people do push back with, I know what I need to do. But I also think there's a huge group of people who don't
Mhm.
know what to do as far as finance or operations,
Right,
because that's not their core specialty. That's
right,
not what they were trained to do. They are brilliant at what they do, but they weren't trained in
right,
business. And
right,
so that's the other side of the coin, where they do need to be
right.
able to understand
Well,
how the gears mesh.
right. And when I say we know what to do, we think we know what to do. It doesn't really mean we
Yeah.
actually know what to do. We just have this feeling, right? And feelings are
Yeah.
great. All feelings are valid, but that doesn't really mean that you have the experience to know the most valuable tactic to take forward. And that's where we have experts like you.
That's the perfect explanation right there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Tell me, since we're the Gather community and we're all about making sure that we bring people together, we talked a little bit about accountability. Tell me about how, what you see as community being a value for your business, and what you do, how that affects the community at large.
Uh, Community is an integral part of a success, especially for small business. But you need to have a tribe. Absolutely, it's necessary. And large corporations have boards of directors,
Mm-hmm.
and small businesses have support groups that are masterminds or community, where they are able to draw from the expertise of those around them to support them in all the different areas where they need support, where they need advice, where they need get that value. Beyond that, I think, and again, I'm going to focus mostly on women. I think it's equally true of men, but I don't think they've discovered it yet. Women like to support each other. And so there is an intrinsic value to just knowing that you're dealing with your friends and your compatriots and that we're all in it together.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. We have networking, we have masterminds, we have, all these different ways to try to wrap a supportive collection of people around us. I know that community was hugely important for me in the creation of Gather. And it was the whole reason why we made it too, so that I can continue to grow those circles, bring people together locally here at first. And of course, now, thanks to COVID, we're able to bring people together from all areas. You and I never would have connected probably in this way, related to Gather anyway. You being in Santa Rosa and me being in Santa Cruz, I'm thankful for it, right? And, that's really happening all around the country. We've got Gather community folks from Arizona. We're talking to people, in Wisconsin and all around the country, because no matter what happens going forward, we can still stay connected and be that supportive community for each other, be that referral partner community for each other, because we're all here because we all can trust each other and can honestly say, this person's great at what they do, they can help you. So I love it. And I'm so glad that you're here. This has been so great. I think we're pretty close to time. Is there anything like, what if people could take away one thing that would help them see why they should come in and talk to you, or why they should come to your next thing? What would you tell them? I probably should have told you that. I was going to ask you that in the beginning. Sorry.
Perhaps. Way to put me on the spot, Tracy.
Sorry, honey.
I think honestly, almost every small business needs my services, whether they go to me or someone else. For the very reason I said before, that most people are fabulous. They're experts at their core business, but not at running a business. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I think that it's, people know they need help at sales, but they don't necessarily realize they need help at the other thing. They're worried about getting the dollars in the front door, right, instead of keeping them from flowing out the back door. So I think, though, if you've grown your business to a point where you realize that the way you do things, the way you've always done it, isn't working anymore, or you're having trouble either paying yourself or having profit in your business, that basically you get, your bottom line is either sinking or you're staying level because you simply, your outgo matches or outstrips your income. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that it's most critical, that should probably talk to someone, myself, or someone like me. You're awesome. Absolutely. Come talk to me.
And if it's time to, like, okay, this is where I've been, but I'm ready to try to do more, right? I'm ready to take this to scale. I'm ready to, or I'm overwhelmed and I need support and I need to find out where's the first place to start so that I can, like, either get my life back or make more sales, or both, right?
Absolutely. So absolutely. And I think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think what you said is learning how to scale your business. That's a huge, huge part of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, if you are doing one-on-one instruction, your business can only get so big, period. It will never grow beyond that. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine, as long as that matches your goals. But if you have bigger goals, we can help you figure out how to meet them.
Awesome. Perfect. I think that's the perfect way to end. If you have bigger goals, Kelly can help you meet them. I love it. I'm so glad that you're here again. For everyone who makes it here to the end of our video, Kelly is informed. She's at informedceo.com. And I'm super excited to have her here. Stay tuned because we are going to be having a speaker day in December, and Kelly will be back for that. And, you know, you can find all her contact info here in the notes on YouTube or on our Facebook page, The Gather Community with Tracy Root. And yeah, that's us for today. Kelly, I'm so glad that you were here. What a great way to start off our Monday morning week. I can't wait for this week because I'm so inspired to really take a look and make sure that I'm in the right place, and where I'm not in the right place, maybe I need to have a phone call with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tracy, for having me. This was a great experience, and let me just say, I'm so in love with you and the Gather community.
Grateful to you.
This is just wonderful.
Awesome. So glad you're here. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.